Hello everyone and welcome into the Disc Golf Network. The tour has departed the Central Valley of California and descended upon the evergreen forest of Shelton, Washington. We have some compelling matches from the group play stages of the Match Play Championship today. Coming to you live from the Shelton Springs Disc Golf Course. Taking a look at our current conditions, low 60s, low humidity, almost no wind. Welcome into the booth. I'm Nate Perkins, joined of course by Nate Doss, Valerie Jenkins. We have an unfortunate breaking event for you guys. Paige Pierce will not be competing today. We got to hear from her directly. Let's take a listen now.
Hey y'all, just wanted to come on here real quick and let you know if you're planning on watching my match play today, I am dropping of the event. Yeah, I have a little bit of pain in my shoulder, like right where my shoulder meets my arm right here. And I have a physical therapy appointment today to get it figured out. I think it doesn't feel too serious, but lifting, following through, putting, all is kind of painful, like a 5 of 10 pain or something like that. I think I'm gonna be all right. I have faith in that, but I definitely just know that my body's telling me to rest today. So yeah, I'm trying to make sure I can still compete in the tournament this weekend and Portland Open and all the events to follow. So Madison and I's match will be rescheduled. So stay tuned on that. When it'll be rescheduled, I'll let you know for sure, and wish me luck. Hopefully I can still compete in the Cascade Challenge and compete in Washington for my first time in many years.
And it's a bummer to hear that Paige is dealing with another injury after overcoming the ankle injury so many years ago. Wishing the best for Paige. I'm glad she's listening to her body and taking this match play event off and focusing on the big events that she has coming up.
Yeah, hopefully we get to see her compete again this weekend. It was great. She really laid it out all on the line a couple weeks back at the major. That Pierce-Walker matchup will be postponed to the Preserve and will be replaced by Joey Bucket's Isaac Robinson. We'll have a mixed card for the 305 tee time. Nate Doss, what do you make of that matchup?
Well, it's exciting to get to see Isaac Robinson, Mr. Major, coming off the big win down in California, getting to see him go up against Joey Buckets. I mean, one of the young up-and-comers. This course lays out well for both of these guys. I'm also really excited about our Ezra Antala matchup. Guys took first and second last year in this tournament, so it should be exciting.
And the one FPO match today, Missy Gannon, Rebecca Cox. Missy has put on a show for us in the past in the match play, and we know she loves to talk trash. Let's hear what she had to say before her matchup with Rebecca Cox.
I would honestly say just her as a person. She's one of the nicest people on tour. Literally, you gave me the hardest person to roast because I typically go that way for these things. But no, if you Googled like physical embodiment of, you know, the phrase kill them with kindness, a picture of Rebecca should pop up. So, you know, I want to take a page out of her book, and I think it's just easiest to kill her with some kindness. And that's what I'm gonna do this weekend. So.
Well, Rebecca was left speechless there. Friendly bit of trash talk. Is that a visor, Valerie?
Very handy.
Missy Gannon goes all out. I mean, the moment that Missy reached for her zipper, I think Rebecca knew what was coming. She wasn't going to get let off that easy. But look at this visor. Oh my God. It's hilarious. And Missy Gannon knows how to play match play. She knows how to get into her opponent's head.
Pretty tall task for Rebecca here. She has been playing some great disc golf over the past 2 seasons.
I think that Atlanta.
First off the tee, Joey Buckets.
We're going to get right into it here. Joey Bucket's going to lead the way.
And take a look at this. We could see Isaac there with a bucket hat of his own.
I love it. I love it. You know, obviously match play is about the play. Got to shoot the best score you can on each hole, but the mental side of it is really important as well. I love to see a little bit of this kind of gamesmanship between the two, and a nice start there by Joey Buckets.
Next off the tee, Isaac Robinson.
Yeah, Doss, it feels like we get a little bit more expression from the players throughout this match play.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, you know, again, it's match play is just about trying to do the best you can on each individual hole. I have won matches playing horrible overall, and I've lost matches playing great. And now we've seen an out-of-bounds shot here from Isaac. He'll have a chance to make that putt, of course, but Joey, chance to win hole 1 here.
So these 4 players are going to be playing in the same group, but the FPO division does have a shorter
First off the
tee, a
in
different
our
alternative
FPO
tee.
matchup, Missy Gannon.
And it looks like there is some wind out there in the fairway that kind of got under Isaac's disc and pushed it toward that back OB line. Something to be conscious of on this hyzer.
So it's just under 300 feet. So like you said, they need to be aware of that OB long.
Next off the tee, Rebecca Cox.
And even with all that space out right, Missy still chooses to go up the gut. And Rebecca also lining that up. Perhaps just too far to swing that hyzer if you go wide of that first pine.
Oh no, Missy. I think I'm out of
A
bounds.
red
but I
flag
love
for
you.
Rebecca. So Missy just laying up underneath the
I
pin
think I'm out
here.
early.
She could take this hole right off the bat.
Big money Missy. Take a look at this. 324,000 in career earnings. That's just at the major and elite series, and that is with just 12 wins. I mean, what do you make up of this statistic here, Val? Kristen 26, Paige Pierce 68.
Missy knows when to play good. She knows when to step up when the biggest paychecks have been on the line, and a couple of those events have been the Tour Championship to end the season. Now we're playing the Match Play Championship at the end of the season, so that could be another huge payday for her as well.
It looks like Rebecca did go out rather early.
She had a chance to throw it in. You know, if Missy did just lay it underneath the basket for the par, Rebecca, she needs to play those strategic games. It's match play. One hole could make a difference.
And it was kind of what I was alluding to before. I've won matches making big mistakes, but it's because those big mistakes, as long as you can mentally stay in it, they don't compound hole after hole, right? It's not as if Rebecca's now 1 or 2 over. She's just going to be 1 hole down. She could get it right back on the very next hole. So
Yeah.
it's such a different mindset when you're playing match play, and if you don't practice it a lot, it can take a little bit of time to get kind of rolling. So I like that we're going to see a lot of matches throughout the season before we get to the finals in November.
Yeah, and like you're saying, the players need to know when they have to throw it in.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't necessarily throw in a 200-foot shot on hole 1 or try to, but match play, you're going to have those opportunities, and you're going to need to know when you need to make them.
For me, that's the best part about match play, is that it forces players to throw shots they wouldn't normally throw in traditional scoring. And here's Isaac just outside the circle, and look at the wind early on here. Now, most of this course is going to be tucked up into this evergreen forest, but there are several holes that are out here in the open, and the wind is certainly playing a factor. Macy will still have that to win the hole.
I mean,
So this is
Yeah, I think we're all.
an interesting thing, too. We'll get back to that here momentarily.
It's my rain. That's like, there's like a little confidence. Like, I know, like.
Right, some of your favorite disc golf pros and creators will compete together this June at Pickard Park for the first ever Creators Cup. All right, I took a look at some of those lineups there. We got Simon Lazat out there. We've got people from Foundation, and we've got some just YouTube creators. I saw Robbie C. Disc Golf is going to be joining us on that.
So what's Simon? Is he the pro or is he the online creator?
That's a great point.
A little bit of both.
He's
Yeah,
the biggest
exactly.
of both sides, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely. That's pretty cool. I think that's cool they're doing that. That should be a fun day if you're spectating out there in Des Moines. So one of the things, as we see Ezra Robinson walking up to hole 1, he's going to be playing here momentarily. I liked what Isaac did there. Isaac was going to lose the hole no matter what, concedes the shot to Joey. Joey doesn't putt there.
All right.
And I think I talked about this during the President's Cup, but little things like that go a long way. Because now Joey still hasn't gotten a putt in. Now Isaac did. It wasn't a make. Those are just little tiny things, just to kind of get in the head of the player.
That's
I think,
an
a little bit.
interesting note, Doss. Now, can he still putt it?
Yes,
if
he
it's
is allowed
conceded?
to.
Okay.
I would have putted, but that's because that's the way I'm thinking. I would have putted it sort of freely, not worried if I made it or missed it. So I think, I don't know. I enjoy match play for that fact. So there's really no more Joseph Anderson. It's just Joey Buckets now. That's full on. PDGA, that's his name. Just Joey Buckets.
Wow. Hole 2 is a par 5, just under 1,000 feet. Little tailwind left to right here. Just avoiding the Corolla.
So you have a big section that's marked as a hazard here. Very difficult to try to kind of find a really small strip of inbounds out there.
I felt like Joey got pushed down pretty early, but is this in danger, Doss?
He's gotten over it.
Okay.
That's a big shot from Isaac. Last year we really weren't seeing guys go that aggressive off the tee. We were seeing them play it back a little bit. So nice shot there by Isaac.
And here we go. It's a wild Wednesday here. Course,
Oh,
again,
come
it's
on.
open to the public, and it nearly gets the ramp.
Oh, I'm so
off
glad
the
it didn't.
windshield.
I'm so glad it didn't. And what we saw there from Joey is kind of what we're going to see mostly. A lot of shots being laid back, even though they've extended this hazard. But Isaac staying aggressive, getting it in bounds, that's a big shot.
We have some history here at the Cascade Challenge. This is the 3rd edition here. It was a silver event back in 2023. James Conrad, 14 under opening round 1. And then a Q Series in 24 where Nicholas Antila bested the 49 and shot a 48, which was also a 14 under, nearly 1100 rated. And now it is an Elite Series here in 25. Big shout out to the Mason County Disc Golf Club. They've been working hard out there. Tournament director Jeff Corns came on the Joe Maz podcast talking about all the additions that they're making. They cut in 2 new holes in the woods. They extended it from 8,400 to 9,700 feet, made a brand new par 5 back there in the corner. And the Pro Tour layout here at Shelton Springs, it's open to the public year-round, and it's free to play. That is just not something that we come across very often out on the DGPT. Missy is up 1 on Rebecca, heading into the par 5.
Well, we can see what the wind's doing. It's crosswind left to right. So that could bring that OB line on the right side into play. But Missy releases it with a nice hyzer, and she finds the middle of the fairway.
I love the dichotomy here. We're looking right at the MPO tee-pad, then right at the FPO look. They're different for almost the entirety of the course.
Yeah, I think the first hole that they're the same will be hole 10, which is the island hole in the woods.
That's a great shot there from Rebecca. It was very low out of her hand, but it got a nice skip at the end.
All right, this week only, new or returning Disc Golf Network subscribers have a chance to win a Zuka Mystery Cart Bundle, a $500 value. Now, you know, not every course is a Zuka course. This one, I'm going to give it the cart check mark here. Last week, De La didn't quite get the cart check mark, does it, guys?
You might need a little bit of a bigger tire beef up there, but, you know, I've seen people pull carts, in fact, Zuka carts around De La too, so they're pretty versatile. That's a big win. I mean, a $500, you know, prize pack? I'd be in on that.
I don't think you're eligible.
Dang it, I'm returning. Come on.
So, Bucket's a little out of position here. Going to filter this through the gap. You like that position, Doss?
Yeah, I mean, he's kept it in the clean there, dead center of the fairway, but he still has a lot of trees to contend with as he heads up the latter half of this hole. So this is an interesting matchup, too, because we know Proctor dealing with the injury. We saw it, you know, at the major just a couple of weeks ago. He played well in round one, but he kind of fizzled out as the weekend went on.
Well, I tell you, Doss, he was the only player to qualify for the final round, make the cut, and then not make the cash,
Right.
which is the worst spot you can really be in.
Yeah, it's kind of a I mean, that's just a tragic situation. That really sucks.
Here's Isaac from way up the fairway, getting it up to flat, going to miss everything. And what a shot from Isaac.
Yeah, you can see the marker there, circle 2 mark. So he's going to have a chance to make an eagle.
So eagle is in play here on the second.
Yeah, no question, especially with that wind, the way that it was playing. Again, tournament play, I'm not sure we see that many players get as aggressive as we saw Isaac off the tee. I think we're going to see a lot more of what we saw from Joey. That being said, if you do it, the risk can be worth the reward. That shot might have even been better.
I think
because it
so.
hit that tree and kicked back.
Yeah, it was hyzering toward the pin, but he will have an open look for the eagle 3. And here's Gannon with her second.
And this is playing as a par 5 for the women. 660 feet, definitely reachable for the eagle. See how far Missy can get down this gap.
All hyzer, it's flipping up gently, and it's going to fade off a little early. She'll be just at circle's edge, slightly obstructed there.
And what I find so interesting on the course design here of that you're throwing out here underneath these power lines, it's wide open, the wind affects your shot, and then you get into the really thickly dense woods, and so the wind is blocked. So it's tough to really know how your disc is going to be affected. And a little air bounce there from Rebecca mid-flight.
Yeah, and that's going to push it into a hyzer just a tad earlier than she hoped. She'll be just outside of Gannon's. All right, the Witch's Broom here. It was in full bloom last year. Missy Gannon up 1 through 1. Joey Buckets up 1 through 1 after the OB stroke from Robinson on the first.
Critical here for Joey to get it pretty close. You don't want to give Isaac any kind of freebie. Nice control. You can see he was perfectly lined up with the pin. Great shot there by Joey. Almost a bullseye shot. It's going to put a little, not pressure, but it's going to kind of indicate to Isaac if he misses the putt, that's a push, basically. Champion from last year, Nicholas Antila. It's funny, you know, you watch these holes in the woods, and they're not the same kind of trees, but it reminds me of Finland a lot. You know, the kind of the thickness, the denseness of the foliage.
All right, it has been the year for the Finnish Cowboy, two-time back-to-back Elite Series champion this year alone.
The guy knows how to win. I mean, he certainly proved that going back to back. That's not something that the average great, even really great disc golfer does these days.
Yeah, puts you in a new class. You defend your title, it puts you in a new class, and you win back-to-back Elite Series titles. It also just elevates you.
Agreed. Yeah, and you know, obviously he's going to defend his title here. Last year at Q Series. As you said, has the course record, although the course has been adjusted this year, so round one we'll see a new course record set.
All right, taking a look at Rebecca's lie here. Don't love it.
And I'm not sure there's much of a throw-in opportunity. She's just hoping to get it up and over, get it close, and that'll do.
That was actually quite crafty. Whole wrist right there. And here's Isaac. Open look for eagle. Dries up just short. Great chance to have the hole right there.
Yeah, now again, if I'm Isaac, I'm just going to go pick that disc up, and Joey ain't going to putt. We're just going to push, and we'll walk to the next tee.
Right, the Ezra Robinson, Nicholas Antila match teeing off in about 2 minutes. And Missy to win the hole.
Wow, she is a better look than Rebecca. Not this time. And I don't know, even though Missy's underneath the basket, Rebecca still has a tester putt.
Is that tree in the way, Val?
It looks, yeah, she's giving it a straddle stance to just give herself some more space from that tree.
And she's good for it.
It's always been a topic of conversation with Rebecca and her putter. And if she's putting well, she's going to be playing well. And that was a really solid putt with a little bit of pressure added.
Well, she's been one of the players who has drastically changed the look of her putt and really for me became the most improved putter, you know, from 3 years ago to 2. And for those not totally familiar with the rules of match play, the player who completes the hole in the fewest number of shots wins the hole. Doss, touch on some of these aspects here from the match play terms.
Yeah, certainly. We got all square. That's when we're all tied up. A halve is really when the hole is just pushed, basically, or the match is pushed. And in this case, if they push the match after 18 holes, they'll split. They'll each get 1 point here in the round robin. Dormy is an indicator of that you really can't lose the match. So if you're dormy, the worst you can do is halve, and up or down is obviously just kind of describing how many holes you're up or down, depending on which side of the coin you are there.
Yeah, it just adds such an interesting element to our sport.
To me, it's some of the most exciting disc golf that can really happen. You know, we don't always get the best finish to a tournament, and you don't always get the best finish to a match, but at the end of the day, I love it. It's just one-on-one. It's you versus that other player. A lot of times we talk about the players playing just against the course when you're playing a tournament. You don't think about the other 150 people. But in this case, you're thinking about just that one other person. And I absolutely love this matchup. Not only were they first and second last year, and that is inbound, and he'll have to make a putt there outside circle 1.
Next off the tee.
But they both won tournaments this year on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. So a really good matchup. Tough group here that they're in.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this is the most compelling match from the group play stage. And right away here, Shelton Springs course, you are forced to hit this gap, and that is a missed gap and a tree kick out of bounds for Ezra Robinson.
It's a tough starting hole because you can't just blast it out this gap. We saw what happened with Isaac. If you got too much speed and the disc comes in a little too flat, you're going to power skip long OB. But if you got it kind of, well, obviously we just saw a tree kick out of bounds, but if you got it too low, you might not get all the way back in bounds. So it's a very touchy starting tee shot here.
I feel like that early Mando left has to be in the mind of these players as they're lining up.
No question
And
about it.
that will filter into the circle for Hemis. Joey Buckets on the tee of the third. Here he is. Turning a little early out of the hand, catches a tree, headed right into the rough. Opportunity for Robinson here. Just 330. Clean release, catches the pine halfway up the fairway. All right, so this is Ezra after the tree kick out of bounds. This will be his third. Needs to throw it in. Similar spot where we saw Rebecca. Will he give it a chance? And almost the same result, that wind just kind of dropping it.
Yeah, it's going to be so tough. We know Ezra is really good from distance, but it's going to be very difficult with that big power wind. He really would have had to kind of really throw the disc. And, you know, you'd be 50 long at that point, but it kind of doesn't matter.
Missy squaring it up. That's the one tree you got to beat on this fairway. Either choose to go inside route with a straight flight or go the right-hand route with a little bit more hyzer.
Ooh, Rebecca just misses the same tree. Tugs it a little to the right.
Thankfully, we got some spotters over there.
Proctor needs this. Oh, and it looked to be a good wind read. Comes up short, and Adam will have an opportunity from 25. Niklas just gets to lay up there to win the opening hole. Tailwind left to right here. And that's a great hit for Hemis. That's a birdie and a win on the opening hole.
You see this? Again, you can hear what they were talking about. Ezra's like, well, I'm going to putt this. And Adam's going, really? He goes, well, I can. I think it's smart. Because, again, you might have a putt at that distance later in the match that really means a lot more than what it just did for Ezra. So keeping the putter going, if you can execute those putts, even on a win or a loss, I think is critical. We just saw it play out right there.
Do you think Isaac and Ezra were talking about some of these strategies or gamesmanship before the round?
Maybe.
Here's Missy's second. Off on the right side, had a pretty clean look, and there she is just outside the bullseye. That'll be for her par. Rebecca, not really a clean look here. And she's going to lay that up to hopefully have the hole. Yeah. Nice little jump putt there. This is Buckets' for the birdie. And just a little too much air under that one. Another halve coming up for that matchup. Hannes on the second. Great turn out of the hand. Gonna ride that tailwind. What do you think these shots, what do you think they're looking for right here, Doss? Is that 450?
Yeah, it's going to be at least in the 450-foot range. We know on the longer side, so if you're way to the left of the on this hazard that you have to cross, kind of left part of your screen, it's going to be a longer carry. But it's wider as far as the back OB. You can see this back line OB, and Proctor's going to find it right now. That's a huge mistake by Proctor.
Unforced error right there.
Yeah, so there you go. I mean, Proctor trying to play it safe. He makes the big error. Hammes looks to be in bounds. Probably a win there for Hammes.
Missy Gannon to have the hole. Puts it on the pole. She will pick it up. There's Isaac for his par.
Yeah, and I don't think Rebecca needs to necessarily practice the slam dunks. It's more of the putts where you need that full routine and the full extension of the basket.
And look at this, Doss. He's going to go with the forehand. Going to try and ride that wind.
Yikes. That's right at the hazard.
And I don't love how conservative it feels in the distance category.
Yeah, again, this is a tough hole. We've now seen two players smash it up there. You know, we saw the one from Isaac, and then we saw the one that we just saw from Hammes. But for the most part, we're going to see these guys playing back, just like what we just saw from Ezra.
Back to the fourth here for Joey Buckets. It is a par 4. Another early gap here. And he is clean through it. A little overturned, but it kicks out into the fairway. He'll have a clean second.
Here on 4, I really just feel like finding no rough is goal number 1. Kind of really doesn't matter where you are, but like that right there, that's going to be tough.
Early release there from Isaac, and the kick to the right. Now let's take a look at this girls' tee, Valerie. What shape are they trying to hit right here?
So off of the tee, they want a nice straight flight, maybe a little Anheuser if you want to get greedy. Misty goes with the big turn. And that should work out nicely. You can see it opens up maybe about 200, 250 feet off of the tee. The rough is rough out here, so you don't want to hit anything early.
It's very similar shape. Great ground play for Rebecca. And here's Niklas after the conservative forehand. What will he choose to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. So he is short of the hazard. You can see that's indicated by the yellow marks. I think we're going to see a pretty aggressive shot here, right down the middle gap. Nice forward skip. Should be a relatively easy birdie for Antela, being that this is a par 5.
Proctor with his third after the OB stroke off the tee.
Wow, the wind just really smacked that down.
Just how much trouble did Isaac Robinson find himself?
You know, he's off the fairway, but at least he had a full swing. Wasn't stuck in the middle of a bush, and actually gains a lot of distance up the fairway.
That was crafty. Didn't touch a tree. Over to his brother Ezra.
This is such a great perspective as we see Ezra throwing. You can kind of see the width between the back end of the hazard and the OB line on the right there. So not that big a space, probably only about 50 feet wide.
Would be great if we could ping Ezra and tell him just how much further up the fairway his big bro got.
That's right.
I'm sure he'll tell him later.
It's a risky shot to go for it off the tee, because if you just don't get enough juice on it, you're certainly going to find that hazard short. And, you know, but if, like I said, you get paid off with the reward if you can't get it inbounds, an opportunity to make eagle.
Now Joey has the hyzer gap on the right side. Will it beat it? It does not. Kicks off to the left. Looks like a couple of pars coming up for that matchup. The second from Adam Hemis.
Oh, this looks so good.
Filters through.
That last tree really did him in, just kind of pushing him forward and to the left.
He'll still have a big advantage over Proctor.
That's the one you guys cut me, right? It's a local route.
Of any course, I feel like this has tons of local routes. You heard him shout out of the crowd. You have to get creative on this course if you don't land in the ideal position. Missy looks like she has a couple of different alleys to aim for.
And she'll find the center alley. Look at this, Val, and look at the reaction. That's going to keep it inside the bullseye, putting a ton of pressure on Rebecca. What a shot from Missy. What do you see here, Val?
Well, she has to shorten her run up just a bit, but she gets that momentum she needs and all the body English to make sure that disc misses those trees just barely. And that tree love at the very end bounce her back toward the basket. I think regardless of that last tree kick, I think she still would have been close.
The pressure back on for Rebecca. Has to match here just to have the hole. And this course certainly going to keep us on our toes. And James, he's done with the hole. He threw it OB. He would be throwing his fourth from right there. Adam is way up the fairway. He's just going to concede the hole. He'll be down 2 through 2. Nicholas just outside the circle there. The rare Annie forehand from Ezra, and it'll be a putt-off for the second hole. Similar distances for both players.
Yeah, I think it'll all depend on who gets to putt first there. A make could put a lot of pressure on the other player.
And Isaac not going to be able to complete the up and down.
Was he trying to get tricky with that one? He just didn't snap it enough to turn it over. There was no Anheuser flight on that release.
Yeah, I think just a mental mistake there by Isaac. As you said, Val, just not really committed to the line. Needed to really push it through that big gap. Possibility here for buckets.
Go close to 40 feet here for Niklas, and doesn't draw medal. Ezra will have an opportunity here to tie the match.
Yeah, kind of a flip-flop there. Now a real chance. Green light for Ezra.
Top nub not to be. They will have the hole. Nicholas will remain up 1, and it seemed low the whole time.
Yeah, I'm still going to always want to be able to putt first. You know, if you're just talking about the ideal situation, I think there's a lot. It's a lot easier to putt first and try to put the pressure on the other player than try to step up and make that putt. You know, so missed opportunity, that being said.
Rebecca gave that a good run, but Missy will take it. Take another point over Rebecca.
She will be up 2 through 4. Isaac gonna want to try and throw this in. And Buckets just needs to get up and down to win the 4th here.
And just got to pop it through that little gap. Hits a small branch. Didn't love it.
Might still have some work to do.
Yeah, I mean, at this level, those putts are as close to in as, you know, any bullseye, but you still got to make it. And again, in this situation, you know, if I'm Isaac, I'm going to force Joey to make that putt. You know, so it's just a little bit of gamesmanship.
So there's Isaac for the bogey. Now Joey is going to have a 22-footer here for the par and the win. And he's good for it. He is up 2 on Isaac Robinson, the major killer. Here's Antila on the 3rd. Honestly, he hasn't missed too many gaps this season.
Wow. That was almost the curse of the commentator. I was like, that's bold words on this very narrow fairway, but he nails it.
Well, we got to remember, Val, I mean, Perkins has been out there watching him play for a lot of the events. As Nate, you usually walk along with these guys. I know you'll be walking along with them this weekend as well.
Well, I'm excited to get up to this forest here. And yeah, there are certain players that they just make a believer out of you when you're faced with a gap. And there's 2 of them right there. I believe Ezra and Nicholas are going to hit the gap almost every time they line up their shot.
Yeah, so I've been talking about how last year Antila and Robinson went 1-2. It was a 10-stroke win, though, for Antila. So it's not the place isn't always representative of how they played, and Antila dominant last year.
So Hemis hit early, trying the forehand here, and Proctor gets this to flip up nice. Will it miss the late trees? It will not. He will have to make a C2 putt if he wants the birdie there.
At least he gave himself an opportunity with his competitor. Short birdie out of play.
All right, the 5th, just 325. Another early Mando. And this one is pretty hard to get all the way back left to the pin.
I'm just telling you, when you just look at this hole from behind, you could be in Finland. It's just the way the foliage is and the trees and stuff. I don't know. I love it out here. It's really beautiful.
Right in that bush.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I feel like it's one of the better settings for the sport. Little bit of underbrush makes the rough really interesting for the scrambling, but there's enough airspace amongst the evergreens to shape shots. Here we go. Missy Gannon on the 5th.
And so they do share the same tee here. So same shot. 325 feet. Missy connects a little farther down the fairway.
Oh, yeah, good eye there, Val. I thought hole 10 was the first one they shared a tee, but yeah, hole 5.
Now, is it the same basket location as well?
It is. Yep, both of them are 325 feet.
Rebecca needs this to get back on hyzer. It will. Doesn't quite move left enough.
See if Proctor can find an open stance. Oh no, he's way back there. Boy, I thought he would have a better opportunity. He still has a little sliver of the basket he can see. Gotta be a little careful though too with the elevated basket. Don't want to try to get too aggressive and potentially put yourself in a tough spot coming back.
All right, Ezra Robinson just outside the circle from a knee. Will he go inside that tree? I believe he will. On Annie, and that is on the pole. What a putt.
Ezra is so good at those kind of lower body, completely still, just able to use a lot of wrist there, just really pounds that thing in the basket. That's a great putt from Ezra Robinson.
Yeah, those kind of situational putts are what led him to his first victory earlier this year at the Supreme Flight. And here is Nicholas to match and have the hole. And doesn't give it the life. It rolls away, but it won't matter. That's a win for Robinson to tie the match. .22 feet for Adam for the par. And that'll force Proctor to make his comeback putt as well from 18.
Yep, and that's really why Proctor had to be a little bit defensive, because he didn't want to try to, if he pushes it to 30 beyond, he's back in that bushes, which is where Onslaught just grabbed his disc from.
Just enough distance you think about this.
Yeah, slightly elevated basket. Nice putt there by Proctor. I think a great example of what I was referring to on the previous hole. I'm going to always want to putt first, because that putt from Antela, so much more makeable if it's not to have the hole, if it's to get the point.
Little chip flick from Missy. Looked pretty good. We saw her practicing those earlier today. Now, opportunity here to win the hole.
Looks like that tree is in Rebecca's way, so I have to go with big hyzer. And that looked like a putt of the past with a big hyzer release. Doesn't connect.
Joey gonna have to reach out to his left and try and hit this from a knee. Oh, and he sneaks it in the right side. What a catch.
Yeah, even with the little bit of leaf hit, you'll see it right off the release. You can see it hitting his hand, and then he hits the small branch right there. Still goes in the basket.
And that catches left side to have the hole.
Boy, he was about 1 inch to 2 inches away from being down 3. That was a big catch by that basket there for Isaac Robinson. Stays just 2 down through 5 holes. It's a big difference, if you're down 3 through 5 versus 2.
Missy, some work left here. Good cleanup there to have the hole. She is up 2 through 5.
This is a really fun course to watch this match play because it's any one hole. If you hit the gap right off the tee, you're looking good. But then the next hole, it could be a totally different world. Very technical shots are required on tee shots and up shots. And hopefully you don't land behind a tree if you have a putt.
Clean forehand there from Adam. great looking rip here from James. Catches something late, and it's the type of track you just don't know till the shot's done.
Yep.
You have to miss trees throughout the entirety of the flight.
Yeah, it's one of those types of courses that you really just can't let that get under your skin. You got to execute your best shot. You take a bad kick. That's just kind of a part of the game here at Shelton. That could be OB, actually. I would expect a red flag. Yep, there it is.
And he does. He finds OB in the woods. It doesn't come up too often.
Yeah, he took that kick, and it was more of a kiss off that tree, kicking him forward and to the left. As you look down the fairway, the OB is going to be on the far left of the fairway as you drift that direction.
And a pretty big misfire there from Antila.
Especially with the out-of-bounds shot by Robinson. This hole's still not kind of no clear indicator quite yet.
Joey Buckets here on the 6th. Headed back out into the open. Beautiful shape there. Doesn't have the legs. He'll have a windy look.
Yeah, 445 feet here. There is out-of-bounds left. So if you get your disc too high out this gap, and as it's drifting left, you're most likely going to just find that out of bounds. As long as you keep it straight, you should be in decent position.
And Isaac has been right, then left, now back to the right. Hasn't found it just yet.
The wind is pushing right to left. Gonna carry these hyzers and add a little bit more skip than you would want.
Yeah, Rebecca might get to read off that push and just swing this a little bit wider, knowing that the extra ground play will come into effect with the wind.
And the women's tee has more space. They don't have to shoot out of the tunnel. There's plenty of space to keep it wide to the right.
Now it's a good shot, but you know it's going to get that ground play. And it doesn't. Gets the reverse there and just puts on the brakes.
Yeah, it doesn't get the flare skip like we
Wow.
were expecting. So Missy's going to have a big putt. And with Rebecca a little bit closer, but the wind, you never know what's going to happen.
And the dichotomy here with the wind out in the open, and you couldn't tell down here in the woods. It's calm.
But there's other challenges to be had here in the woods.
I think give me the trees all day.
Nice bounce back shot there.
That's a good wind read.
Because, yeah, Buckets is still well outside the circle here.
This to win the hole, but also very dangerous, and a good stop right there. That could trickle out to a pretty nasty headwind look.
Yeah, I think he actually got a little lucky.
Yeah.
Had he not hit that big tree, I think it easily would have been 20
Mm-hmm.
back into the headwind.
So here's Adam with his second opportunity. Proctor hitting early again.
A late tree kick there, but not bad. He hit his initial gap.
I think it might be me. I can go.
So Missy outside the circle. Wow, puts it on a great line and the wind holds it nice and flat.
So here's Ezra with his third after finding the OB. What a lethal little OB road right there.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. Like you said, had a bounce in the woods.
And here's Rebecca to win the hole. And she's going to sail it.
Yeah, hole's not over yet.
That might be trouble.
And we know there's some more trees beyond the pin, so we'll see if she's obstructed.
So Ezra looking pretty good for the par here on the fourth. Nicholas, opportunity if he can get this up and down. And he's going to shape this forehand into the circle. He'll have about 30 feet left for the win. And here is that look, Val. What do you think of this?
Well, from where she's facing, the wind is going to push her disc down, and wow. Dealt with the wind, no problem. I was worried it was going to really hit the top of her disc and push it down. It's tough to throw your disc high enough in those situations.
Yeah, putt of the day so far for me. Pretty courageous right there to make that come back. And it's pressure on this one right here. And Missy's good for it.
To another push. Some great putting on display in the wind.
So Proctor needs to get up and down for the par. And he is still without his forehand, but it won't matter there. That is just outside the bullseye for the par. This is for Isaac to have the hole, and it's going to slip out. Looked like an okay putt, little high, little left. Doss, what'd you see there?
Yeah, obviously you got that big crosswind coming off the right, and as much as you don't like to see baskets reject the disc, you can't put it high left with that right to left wind. That's just, again, another mental mistake there by Isaac.
And he'll be falling back 3. All right, so that was Adam's opportunity there. Looks like they will both have the hole. Missy tee shot on the 7th, and this is just a genius wind read. What do you
Yeah,
think about that position, Val?
really nicely done. She's right at the corner. There is a Mando tree that you need to stay to the left of, even though they are throwing this big Anheuser flight. So that's difficult to get the disc to land to the left. And I think Missy is in a prime position.
Dad's in trouble. She's asking for the turn. Will it drop? Look at that. That is safe.
Just barely.
Yeah, that's the situation of the wind helping you as it got to that hyzer flight. A nice putt there by Antela. I mean, as it got to that hyzer flight, it started to push it down. Very lucky there for Rebecca. Now that putt there for Antela was for par. So that shot we just saw from him previously, that must have been his 3rd.
Yeah.
As he probably just chipped out to that, because remember the
Must
tee
have.
shot was a rough one.
Yeah. So they will have the hole and remain all square through 4. And
Yeah, I was a little confused there initially. Not
Yeah.
to cut you off there, Perkins.
No,
but
it's all right.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Doss. He must have played quick there on the 2nd. Sorry about that. And what an up and down there for Proctor. He'll stay just 2 back.
yeah, Proctor and Ezra respectively. I mean, to get up and down from being over there on that left side, over by that out of bounds road. Very nice work.
Buckets here on the 7th. It's actually a par 3 for the MPO. T-pad just in front of FPO.
I mean, at 490, you really just, honestly, what Joey did is about as good as you're going to do.
Yeah, it's a great shot.
I mean, because of the way it turns late to the right, I think it's very difficult to get it all the way back. This is super aggressive.
That looked to be a Mando miss. A little too
Yeah.
much Annie.
Hey, Perkins, did he miss the Mando there? Oh, wait, you're sitting right here with me. Normally we'd be going to you there, Perks.
All right, here's Paul Macbeth's daily fantasy position this weekend for the Cascade Challenge. To participate in regulated sports wagering on DGP events or to play Disc Golf Pro Tour Daily Fantasy, head over to nxtbets.com/playdgp. DGPT.
So
10.5.
yeah,
That's
kind of
a-
an under-over situation.
That's
I mean,
interesting, Doss. It feels like a slam dunk for me that he's going to be better than
Yeah.
10.5.
you like the better in that situation.
I do, and I still haven't got clarity on whether or not we can bet. I think that we're out.
Yeah, we're out. No,
Okay.
we're not allowed. You know, it'll be interesting to see with Paul, you know, how he rebounds after,
Yep.
you know, a very emotional Champions Cup, in my opinion. You know, watching him sort of be the Macbeth of old and then sort of fall apart towards the end. We'll see how he bounces back. I expect good things from Paul.
Yeah, I'm with you, Doss. That was quite the fall from grace to finish the event at 15 after shooting 14 in one round. Here's Hamas on the 5th.
I like the height on this one. He can get it up there and let it work to the left. Very nice shot by Hamas.
Proctor also using height here.
Yeah, it's a little bit more on the inside, so he should be short, and he is just by a bit. Still have a chance to make that putt, though.
That was perfect.
Allie Smith on the back. And here we go, Rebecca. Early left here. She's going to have to pick a gap. None of them are great, Val. What do you like here? The hyzer?
Yeah, it looks like she's lying just straight ahead trying to throw over that bush.
Oh, she's going to go this Annie route.
Oh, wanted to use the wind to her advantage. I think she turns it over enough, but it was very low out of her hand. Missy, much better position, but she turns it over.
Oh, yeah. Gannon in business here, just outside the bullseye. Oh, left side chains for Proctor doesn't stick. Looks like he will lose another one here. He liked it. Oh, that was strong.
Yeah, that's a 50-50 one. Could have stayed, but it was a little high left.
Ezra here from 30. Guides it in there.
Yeah, he was holding his breath till it actually fell. That looked a little right.
Did look right.
Basket helped him out, though.
Kind of flew it.
Yeah, pressure here on Antela to keep it all square. This is not an easy putt under this circumstance. You can see just about a pace inside the circle. Call it 30 feet.
And
Yeah.
the same miss that we just saw.
Yep.
A little bit of frustration here coming out of that one quick, and he will now be back one.
So the putter of Ezra putting all the pressure on Antela here.
Hamas going to go up 3.
Yeah, Hamas likes to, has to like his position here, obviously playing Proctor, who is dealing with an injury, sort of limited. He can only throw backhands. So obviously Hamas is going to really feel like he wants to win this match, but you can't overlook Proctor. Even an injured Proctor is still a fine player.
Rebecca has to throw it in.
She's got to throw it in. Another situation where Rebecca needs a big throw in. And Missy's pretty close. Looking very comfortable.
She'll be up 3 through 7. Is a tall task for Rebecca. Hamas over to the 6th. Looks like the wind has kind of calmed down a bit out there.
Don't let it fool you.
Getting getting some turn out of the gap, staying flat. Look at this shot. Past the pin.
Yeah, with the wind coming off the right, pushing left, I think it's going to be difficult to actually park this hole because we do see a lot of this really power skip ground play. And at 445 feet, they're obviously throwing wide rim. And so you get a lot of that power skip as you come into the basket. You want to try to get out this gap, push it to the right, and then if you tip the nose too much, that's exactly what happens. It just pushes it down. So you got to kind of play that fine line. And we'll see if one of these two guys can't do it here.
Robinson great at getting that driver flat. He's going to play the hyzer route.
Wow, it's a trickier initial release. But I think when you go that power hyzer route, I think it's going to be very difficult to get it all the way to the basket.
Yeah.
Because you can't really flip it up with that steep of a release trying to miss that initial tree.
Buckets from deep, not to be. Now, it appears Isaac did not miss the mandatory. Here's his second. That's a tough birdie there on the 7th.
Yeah, I think regardless of the player, you're going to take a push on that one. It's not a bad outcome.
Nicholas needs this to sit. There is an OB line over there. That is a red flag for Nicholas. Joey Buckets 315 par 3 here on the 8th.
That missed a lot. I feel like he could have easily hit about 3 or 4 trees. I mean, a must-make shot here for Isaac. You got to prove to yourself more than anything that you can hit a gap. Really hasn't done it much so far today.
And really a miss there, and the tree kind of helps him out, keeps him in the circle. The classic deep breath here for Missy as she tees on the 8th. A little twirl, a little misfire, and a kick left.
And this is a big moment for Rebecca. 290 feet, par 3. She just has to hit the gap. Give herself a birdie look.
This is clean.
Huge.
Yeah. Hits the tress. What a moment. Let's run it back, Val. Look at this shot.
It's gorgeous. And knowing that you just have to hit the gap, Missy could be in trouble. I was thinking even a par might be good for Rebecca, but a clean tee shot is going to get the job done.
And how it missed that last one. Got a little bit of moss on the way through. Proctor with the layup.
Yeah, smart move there because Hamas is going to have, you know, out of circle back into the headwind.
Nicholas kind of jams that one knowing he needs to make it. And he concedes. He actually picks up Ezra's disc, tosses it back to him.
Yeah,
Doesn't even give him the opportunity.
Yeah, I don't
to
mind
putt
that at all. I love it. You know, just move on.
This is almost right back into the teeth of the headwind. Maybe a little right to left. Wind kept it up, kept it right.
Definitely not going to see that putt conceded. It's plenty of distance to put a little pressure here on Hamas. Tailwind.
If it's a push. I need to practice.
See, there you go, Doss.
Yeah,
Needs to practice.
it's always going to be a part of the conversation.
A little putt off here for Buckets and Robinson. And Joey's good for it.
Joey's playing good, man. This dude's taken advantage of a lot of opportunities, has not let Isaac get away with some of his poor play, and yet again, a pressure right on Isaac here to step up and make a putt, just to push.
Wow. Reaches out to his left and makes his best putt of the day to push.
Yeah, big confidence putt here for Isaac, proving to himself that he's up for the challenge.
Over a branch, under a branch, and in on the elevated basket. Joey Bucket still up 3 through 8. Pretty impressive play against the 4-time.
Nothing set in stone for the women's match. Missy up 2.
We saw just how difficult this pin is to reach. Here's Ezra starting this off on Annie, and look at it just get buried. Almost into a... Oh, and that did miss the mandatory there, Doss.
I was just about to say, let's see that flag, and we could see the red flag. He did miss the mandatory. It'll be interesting, Perkins, to see how they play this one, during the tournament. Being that it is a 490-foot, relatively flat ground par 3.
Yeah, I remember from years past, Doss, that this was... The roller play was great here.
Yes.
But with this wind, and look at this from Antila. This is just incredible, and still... Same spot as we saw Buckets over there. That was a full driver shot right there, still coming up short.
Yeah, and I think with this big crosswind, it's going to be difficult to throw the roller. I'd still like to see the guys try it if you can pick the right disc, because that's going to really help you penetrate late.
Oh, here it is. Here is the roller.
And that wind's just got it so much. He needs a little bit more cut when it hits the ground, push a little bit more to the left before flipping. But safely around the mandatory.
Perhaps another roller here from Proctor.
No!
Yikes.
He doesn't love it.
There's no chance.
And that's headed for a mandatory miss. There's the red flag. Proctor kind of falling apart here. Joey Buckets on the 9th. Little forehand tee shot here. This is just a placement tee shot.
Again, another situation where you're throwing in the woods and then out to the open. You have to know what the wind is doing.
Isaac nearly out of the gap, finds the last tree to beat. That pretty much takes the birdie out of play. FPO tee shot a little to the left, and look at the wind just take hold here, Val. And it actually stays safe.
Wow. Complete misfire from Rebecca. Trying to go with the placement shot. Play on the left side of the fairway. There is an OB line over there, but you do want to play as far to the left on this tee shot.
Missy out of the gap. What do you make of that position?
She might have an angle that's going to be pretty tight. We'll see.
So Ezra trying to throw it in here. A little overturned. Nicholas will get to lay that up.
Right next to the Mando. You have almost crossed the line, but you guys might want to look at the disc.
Oh.
So I believe the conversation here is talking about the roller coming back around the OB line. Wasn't quite sure. I couldn't totally hear exactly what he was saying, but
Looks like it is deemed a mandatory miss here. This is Proctor. Also needs to throw this in. to Rebecca from way back and way left.
Now she needs to bring it close to that tree line. The basket's tucked inside those trees, and she will have an open look from there.
A little bit of hazard right there outside C2. Kind of wicked access to the green there on the 9th.
Yeah, especially with trees and you know what a tree can do to deflect your disc and bring it off course. So hazards and OBs are tough when there's trees involved.
I was going to say, it seems like Adam is way too close to the basket there with how far right his disc. Looks like he was running back to it. Yeah, this hole's brutal. With this wind, that late hazard.
Look at that kiss.
Yeah, very nice.
That's still outside the circle for Joey. Might have, yeah, that last tree definitely kept him from getting closer.
Yeah, but I think that kick could have been a lot worse there for Buckets. Could have stayed right behind that big tree. Kicks him into a nice spot, open putt.
So an up and down here for Adam will put him up 4.
Yeah, really in a very dominant position. It's kind of a misfire. He's going to have to make a long look. Yikes.
No way. That nearly finds the hazard right out of her hand.
Wow, the wind just smashed the disc down, and now Rebecca has to step up and throw a very similar shot. She adjusts.
You know, I thought we left the Midwest. I thought this is why we came to the P&W for the woods and the serene golf, but here we are yet again playing in the wind.
It's so true, though, Perkins. I mean, in these woods, there's no wind.
Yeah.
None. I mean, look at that flanner.
Yeah.
But you put that flanner out on hole 9 right now, and it's a hurricane.
And Hamas is good for it, putting the hammer down early on Proctor.
That's a huge putt.
Yeah.
Big make there from Adam. Adam also a winner this year on tour.
Yeah, man. He made a similar distance putt for the win toward the water with Lazat looking on. That was one of the moments from this season to get his 4th Elite Series win. As Robinson up 2 through 6, Hamas up 4 through 7.
We'll call them both through 7. I think it just hasn't quite updated yet. But, yeah, you know, look, Ezra's made some good shots over the last 10 or 15 minutes.
So Isaac, after the early hit, was still able to give himself an opportunity. Headwind left to right here for Buckets. Oh, nearly finds it right side. Pretty good looking stroke. Yeah, let's run this back, Dawes. What do you see?
I mean, it looked like a good putt. It just kind of drifted a little bit left. I mean, the wind, though it is minor in the woods here, is pushing off that left. It looked like it got up there and just kind of went straight, hoping for a little bit more bend.
Early from Adam.
Yeah, but he got through a long way. Could have been a lot worse. An early tree kick. But pretty clean.
Proctor back up against the wall here.
It's a putter.
It looked fall.
This is really the match we're going to be keeping such a close eye on here. Antela able to get one back there.
And this is the classic Antela shape right here. Just a slightly overstable, slow speed disc on a little bit of Annie and just not wanting to unwind. It's a unique way to throw straight. It's not how they used to do it, Doss.
Well, and again, it comes from the fact that he grew up, well, obviously he's Finnish, and he played a lot of these wooded Finland courses. This looks great as well. A guy who also grew up playing wooded courses in Georgia, Ezra Robinson. But yeah, that Antela, you know, Antela's not a very big guy.
Yeah.
And he just really is able to work these discs to their maximum potential. I think we're also used to watching, you know, the Beast in Finland and Nokia. You think, oh, that's Finnish disc golf. No, no, no. Finnish disc golf is in the woods.
That was Missy to win the hole. Rebecca to have the hole.
Oh, and she buries it. That's the distance right there, Val, that we didn't have a few years back from Rebecca, and now her percentages are way up.
Yeah, and you want to be confident in putts like that. About 25 feet, a little bit of a tester, make you think about putts. Anything outside of that is a bonus.
Hamas from deep. I think Proctor will also have a deep bid. Just outside C2. Oh,
Yes.
He said no. Basket said yes.
Awesome.
Don't you doubt your putter. What a putt.
Yeah, it just drifted nicely at the very end. Thought it was going to be short. Was just right. Don't count out James Proctor.
And again, that's about the distance of the drop zone putt at Maple Hill for the dub.
Man. If that wasn't the best moment of last year, I don't know what was.
Yeah, I got that and the Holland Hanley putt
Yeah, the one at
to
Beaver
push
State.
at Beaver State. That was pretty electric as well.
It was incredible.
And that's a good putt from Robinson to push with Antela close. Here's buckets on the 10th.
Kind of
C2.
the dreaded island in the woods.
We've got OB in the woods. We've got wind in the open. Now we have an island hole in the woods.
It's not the most difficult hole, but it is this sort of mental, you got to get over that you're throwing onto an island. But if you just erase that island, you'd be inside the circle 8 times out of 10 anyways. It's not a very long hole.
Yeah, and there's plenty of space to land on the island as long as you just hit the gap and you choose the right disc. I think Rebecca got a little lucky there. That was going to fly long, but it got down just in time to catch the wall. "285 feet, and the basket's all the way at the back of the island. So they want to make sure they're landing short and skipping up. You can't fly past.
Yeah, because the way they have the island sort of built, it tightens up right at the actual basket. Perfect shot there from Missy Gannon.
All right, our one-shot replay here from Missy Gannon. Just perfect speed control here. That's going to scoot into the bullseye. As you said, Val, started early, scooted up. For 25% off, use code DGPT over at One Shot.
Got some one shot right here at the table here, Perkins, if you need anything.
Yeah, let me get that.
I
Let
got
me
an
get a voice drop.
eclectic mix of things. There's a voice drop for you, buddy.
Nicholas doesn't like it. Pretty dejected over there. Robinson gonna try the turnover.
This is so difficult.
Look, that's
My
almost
God.
turning into a roller,
it is
and
a
it
roller.
does.
You just cut roll? I think you just cut roll. A lot more wind out there than I thought.
There's no beeline over there. Not quite sure he found it.
Okay, Joey Buckets, middle of C2 here. Oh, has the height, but just a tick too much and finds the band.
Door wide open here to take this point for Isaac. A must make for Isaac Robinson. Already 3 down through that front 9.
Don't blink, you might miss it. Here it is to win the hole. Back to 2 down. You know, it started off pretty light here. It's there's no longer that banter, right? Things are getting serious. They want to win these matches.
No question about it.
And Missy's right underneath the pin. Rebecca needs this to have the hole. And misses it left.
Okay, Proctor going to try this seemingly impossible turnover here on the 9th. It's such a fickle line toss between 2 turned over and just 2 straight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you were to throw it out that gap 2 flat on the backhand side, you're going to just drift out of bounds left. That's why to not have a sidearm here is a real detriment. This is a relatively stock shot for Adam. But he's got to avoid that OB,
Look at
and no
that.
way.
And you just knew the wind would keep pushing it after it hit the ground. That is out of bounds and a pretty tricky approach. But Proctor is also out of position. Not a good chance for birdie from way left.
No, and still a lot of out of bounds in play there for Proctor.
Isaac, after winning his first hole of the match, finds an early tree. The precision required out here. You can't miss by much, can you?
No, you're actually better off missing by a lot. You know, if you're from a wooded course, you know a big miss can actually lead to a decent shot, and just barely being off can actually be worse. But you do have to be precise. Give yourself some opportunities. This is a long par 4 here, hole 11.
Now they're going right into the headwind on these shots.
Yeah, Proctor just pretty deflated at the task in front of him. Just a full rip required.
I think he has to just kind of pick a spot here. You're not trying to get into the green. You got all that hazard way up there. You see it. Huh.
In another spot where the power forehand, you just need it.
Yep.
Got the message. Thank you.
So Antela, he did make the mandatory.
So gonna try and cut the hole here.
Yeah, this
Going
is,
back door.
The hazard still comes into play, this back side. I'm not quite sure they're going to run up and look at it.
And Ezra, after the thrower, another windy turnover required.
Wow, what a shot. Incredible. Inbounds and a chance to make birdie. He was waiting for somebody to give him an indication. Seems like he got it finally.
I find myself feeling the exposure when we're out in the wind, and then all of a sudden I feel at peace when we get back into the woods, and I feel a bit warmer.
That's right.
Missy early right.
Both Misty and Rebecca have the same routines. They don't have the same routine, but they have routines when they step on the tee pad to calm themselves right before they throw. And that could pay off big, especially in a moment like this. Rebecca peers the line, stays in the fairway, and Misty's in trouble.
Adam gonna stable up here. and that shot is just, it's a different level of difficulty when you get to go overstable, go against the wind there, and not have to try and throw this difficult turnover.
Yeah, he did such a great job of really penetrating that wind, not allowing the wind to sort of let that disc flare too far right and hit an early tree, find the hazard. You could see how he really pushed it into that wind, made sure he hit that back gap, and he did a great job. That's one of the best shots we've seen today out of Hamas with the wind and the circumstance.
That'll force Proctor to get the up and down to just have the hole here. And he's going to go quick flip roller over the witch's broom.
Through the hazard.
Caddy unsure, doesn't love it, didn't condone it.
I love how we zoomed out to see her reaction. Did she approve? Yeah, not bad.
Little flare with the wrist, and that is sent down the fairway from Isaac after being out of position.
11's one of those holes. You can easily win it with a par. I mean, there's so many big trees. It's, 680 feet. And there you go. Tree hit 4 buckets. Still both men scrambling.
And Nicholas, after cutting the hole, actually had a look.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't the best look, but under the circumstance, not too bad.
This will be to win the hole. And another putt, finding the cage. He's going to check the wind, unsure of how the wind affected his disc right there.
Wow, so Proctor actually went long with the roller. You can only imagine that log laying across the ground there. Probably stopped him.
Wow. He's not giving up, I'll tell you that.
It's an unconventional par, but a par nonetheless, and a big one for Proctor.
Nicholas still has 25 right here. A little bit of tail. And he finds it. Great up and down for Adam to card the 4 and have the hole. So with Missy Gannon lying 3 here on the 11th, this is Rebecca's second shot, and she's in position. Advantage Rebecca.
And this is Missy's pitch out. We'll see how clean this shot is. Not great. She doesn't have a clear line right off the bat, so she's going to have to maneuver and use some angle right as soon as she releases, and then you see that back wall of trees that she has to cut in front of. She's going to have to get creative with this shot.
Yeah, it's tricky. Still has to cover a lot of ground.
And it settles to the ground, and she's going to have an open look.
I think that's as good as she could have done. Very impressive. Here's Proctor on the island hole, number 10. He finds the wood chips just outside the circle.
Yeah.
Allie Smith likes it.
Yeah, just a little bit overturned there for Proctor. You'd like to see your disc, most likely a putter at just 285 feet, just kind of Fly straight, landing at about 20-25 short. There's a log going across the fairway at that about 30-foot mark, 35 mark. You can see it right there. If you can just get over that, that's going to be perfect.
Little putt off coming there. Adam, I think, just outside the circle as well. Steep forehand here on Joey's third.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Almost
that's a
makes it.
crafty shape right there. That'll put pressure back on Isaac.
Yeah, and you can see there, Bucket's just barely missing one of those big trees. So you gotta ride that fine line.
And here's that shape we talked about earlier. No, it's just that anti-flex to throw a relatively straight shot.
Exactly. Yeah, it is unconventional. You know, I certainly personally would not throw a shot like that on a hole like this. You know, you might see a Kale LaVisca do something like that. This is an early release.
Needs help, not going to find it. And that
Whoa.
that's a release that you just don't see too often from Ezra. We really haven't seen it here on the network.
Yeah,
Completely fell out of his hand.
Yeah, early release for sure. Potentially all square over there. That group.
Now third shot from Rebecca. If she puts this close, and she does, it's going to put a ton of pressure back on Missy.
Yeah, Missy still has a chance to make it, to push.
This guy can make his. Force Antela to make his putt for birdie.
Oh, nearly has it, and we're headed back to all square. And from Ezra to Isaac, and Isaac's good for it from deep. For the push.
That could have easily bounced out, but it was low left. And that's just enough chain here. You can see it. Boom. Kind of mid basket. I thought it was a little bit lower initially, but good putt there from Isaac. You could putt this OB, potentially.
You really could.
Not gonna. Nice putt.
That's 3 solid putts in a row for Proctor, and he is still in this match. Adam will now have to straddle out and make this to push the hole.
A little bit of wind kicking up right here for Hammis.
And it won't matter. He buries yet another one. Adam looking strong here on Wednesday.
Oh shoot, you're right. I can feel me.
And we are all square for the Antela Robinson.
Inside circle 2, probably about 40 feet from Missy. Just off the top. So Rebecca, short tap in to get the point.
He's going to fight back a little bit. She'll be just back 2 now. And Joey's good for that comeback to have the hole after the big putt from Isaac. And a great win from Rebecca. Missy Cannon up 2 through 11.
And Rebecca has really stepped up big in those moments where Missy has the tee and she misses the fairway. Rebecca has just clutched up and hit the fairway, and those clean tee shots have paid off for her to win the hole.
Yeah, and I find it important. You know, we've seen it now in that Cox match where just getting 1 point kind of gives you a little bit of confidence that you can do it. Now she's gotten 2. And so that match is certainly still pretty close at just 2 up for Missy.
All right, let's take a look at the 12th. It's a par 5. This is that brand new hole that they carved out. Doss, what do you like here?
Well, it's 1,109 feet in the woods, so your guess is as good as mine. You can see this initial tee shot pretty tight, and as you said, just freshly cut through the woods, not going to be as worn as some of these other holes out at Shelton. I mean, tell me where you want to land. This looks very challenging to me. Got to try to find your open position, try to find a good run up for the second shot. And again, it looks to me like the fairway's a little bit more to the right there. Now we're coming up and over. Now you can kind of see what these guys are going to be dealing with, guys and gals, coming through here on this position right here. Again, do not be off the fairway here. Left and right, not any good.
Look, the mission's simple, right? You miss trees, you keep missing trees, you look for the pin.
You hopefully find your
You
disc.
know, you're in the Fangorn Forest. You just don't hit the trees.
Yeah, again, it's 1,109 feet. If you just try to break that down into 3 shots, I mean, you're still looking 350, almost 400 a shot.
Yeah, it's power shots in the woods.
And this initial tee shot doesn't even look like you could really spin one out there much more than 350, 400. So
I'm with you.
it's got to be perfect. And that one was a good shot. He didn't hit any trees, but it looks like he's going to be playing out of the ferns on the right side.
And it looks like they're both going slow speed off the tee here.
Yeah, because, again, our flyer showed the initial tee shot kind of out this gap, and then to the right is what they're trying to do.
Yeah, well, he is on the trail here. Headed back to the 11th, Antilla. And it's just going to find it and kick right. You really want to cover ground here off this tee shot.
Yeah, hole 11, not too dissimilar from hole 12 in the fact that I think you could easily win the hole with a par, potentially even a worse score. Very nice.
That's way up the fairway. These guys are going back and forth on each other.
Yeah, this is exactly what we hoped for. I mean, a match just like this one. These two guys have played 10 holes, and they've each won 3. So, I mean, they've only pushed 4 holes out of the 10. Proctor needs a little help, and I think gets it. Kicks over to the left.
A little early from Adam. Finds a lane.
It's a skinny fairway over there. Cured it.
This has to be good practice for the event this weekend.
Yeah, you're going to see more of the course. That's for sure.
You're just going to play from spots you would never practice from, right? Which is just
Exactly.
going to play.
Yeah, I think it's a nice preview, especially for the holes that they are new, this year. And being that they're actually doing this Wednesday and then they have tomorrow to even do a little bit more prep
Yeah.
for the Friday start, I think is a big advantage.
So the women's tee is about 300 feet shorter than the men's tee. 880 feet. More straight up the gut than the men having to have the turnover shot. We'll see what they have. Rebecca's farther to the right. Missy's over on the left.
Niklas forced into a forehand here. Just trying to cover ground. We will find out. And the journey continues here on the 12th. Joey not able to really throw a full shot right there, just trying to stay in the fairway.
Isaac taking this high left route. That was actually where our drone was flying. Up that way.
Yeah,
Boy, find some short grass.
All right.
I think he's still got to penetrate kind of out around that corner there.
We really, we're all collectively learning as we go on the 12th.
That's right.
And James trying to hold that turn. More trees.
After the huge smash here by Ezra. Birdie in play. Got to be clean though.
Trying to get that back to flat. And look at this.
Oh yeah.
Haven't seen anyone do it better. That'll be a birdie look.
And the challenge here on 11 is those trees really tighten in towards as you get closer to the basket. So you're going to penetrate through that gap, but then there's just a lot of big trees to miss late.
So Nicholas, he needs to throw it in and just puts this on a bead. And another guardian, just as you said, it tapers in, he catches one.
Becca over on that right side. Got a clean look. The fairway starts to bend to the right at the end, hoping to get to the corner. Keeps it on the edge, let's say. And the thing about having the lower release, if you do connect with a tree, you're not going to kick as far off the course.
Oh, and a little kiss right there. Center into a hyzer and back into the rough.
And so I'm seeing these blue, white, and red markers. I'm into those are distance to the pin, is my guess. I don't know which one's which, but
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. Distance from the pin.
you know, maybe blue's 300, white is 200, and red is 100, somewhere in that range.
Wow.
I think you're spot on there, Doss. And Adam asking for it to get lucky. It does so. And here is Joey with his third back on the 12th. He has a window right here. Proctor has to get up and down now. And that's a beautiful turnover.
You think so?
Like, I mean,
Ezra's pretty close. So that putt didn't feel too consequential. Yeah, that's fun.
But you know why he's doing that. Now it's clear why he's doing it. And again, if I was Ezra, I would actually just go putt that. He is allowed to putt that even though it was picked up.
There's Proctor for par. I believe this is Adam also for par.
That being said.
Oh, this is Adam for birdie. This is to win the hole.
Oh, wow. Nice birdie there by Hammis.
All right, he'll go back up 4. And
I gotta hope for a spit out of this.
their match. Nicholas running to the disc of Ezra, picking it up. Hey, man, you won the hole. Don't even think about putting that.
Yeah. Again, I would putt that. That's a perfect distance to keep warm with. That being said, I like the move by the Finn.
So Rebecca here, she's going with the sidearm to get around the corner.
go. We've been looking for that red pin. A lot of green out there. Where's the red?
And that's a big wall of trees to miss in the later part of the course. That big wall of trees in the middle of the fairway. Missy hits a tight line over on the left side. We'll have to see how far she got.
Yeah,
it looked like a nice clean shot.
We didn't have a great view, but I was a little surprised that that was the line she took.
Okay, forehand finds the ferns. Looks like he's made it to that second part of the fairway.
Yeah, from there he'll have the option that we saw Isaac take, where he can maybe go high
Cut
over
the corner.
those bushes.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm wondering if, you know, our drone operator didn't have a pretty good idea there, flying up that high left side. So Ezra did take that point on the previous hole.
Yeah, he's up one, and he's going to go driver here.
Ezra's such an aggressive player.
Looking for this to get back to flat, and that is a high-level shot.
It's a good shot, but a little bit unfortunate. It seemed like he was pushed right up on that big tree. We'll see how his stance is.
Back to his brother Isaac. Looks like he's still going to find the circle there, even with that last Guardian hit. Maybe a little overturned for Nicholas.
No, I
don't think he loved the shape.
It just didn't look like it had enough to start to bend back. It was kind of just diving.
So Rebecca up first. Nestles it close.
Don't like that putt. That little tree is going to be a problem.
Missy to win the hole.
Yeah, just flip the pressure right back on Rebecca to have to make her putt. Hers is not close either.
And Missy playing that left side. She made the hole shorter. It gave her that advantage at the end to have a putt.
So James is still back in fairway one and still has to start moving the disc left or right before breaking back to the left. Another scramble forehand here from Nicholas. Lets that one go pretty quick. Isaac actually just outside this circle. This for birdie. And he has shown us the way. The first player to play the hole gets the birdie four.
Solid putt from Rebecca to push the hole.
Nicholas still out. This will be his third.
On a hole like this, you really can't give up, though. I mean, if you're Ansela, because it's very possible that Ezra could find some trouble his way. Just kind of, you know, the one thing about throwing a bad shot, you don't have to follow it up with a great shot. You just got to throw a good one. Find some clear land.
I don't know if that was finish or he just conceded the hole.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I doubt he's conceded, but you never know. Talk about gamesmanship. Only 300 feet up the fairway.
I was thinking to myself, well, I think if I were the women, I'd be relieved to be through that hole. That's a brutal new addition to this course.
Yeah, Corns was actually speaking on the fact that they feel like it'll be one of the more difficult holes on the course, and that it's the 12th, right? We think of, you know, a famous course like Northwoods Black. They have the infamous hole 12, par 5 there around the corner, up the hill. They were trying to recreate a little bit of that.
Yeah, you could tell. With that distance in the woods, it felt very Northwoods.
So Adam, forehand off the tee. Now he's going to try and shape this forehand in a little sharp. Not sure if he was going for the roller there, but hits an early tree.
We're still going, right,
So on his back nine. Isaac's chipped back a couple of points. Joey Bucket's just up one.
I think I heard Ezra just ask Nicholas if we're still going.
Oh, we're still going, man. There's that bush.
That's a bullet, Nate.
Oh, he hit a big tree out there.
Oh, if that had a little more turn, it was
Seriously,
going places.
It was. So momentum, so important.
And Robinson, a little too much turn. Gets a gentle kick back into the fairway. I believe this is also brand new hole. Pretty big par 4 with a sharp turn. That's early for Joey.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how 13 is played, because it's really a very sharp turn. So I kind of think just get to the corner and then try to play it from there. I don't know if you can attack too much. Here's Antela.
This is his 4th shot. So Ezra with a pretty much 2-shot advantage.
Yeah, as long as Ezra can make one more good throw, she should easily take the pole.
FPO has a bit of a sharper turn here from left to right, almost 90 degrees.
Yeah, it's a couple of 100 feet shorter than the men's tee, so it brings them closer to that corner. So how can you cut off that angle? 600 feet. There's just a few 100 feet to fly, pushing that back edge, that back wall of trees.
Look at that classic follow through from Gannon. Did she get the corner there, Val?
I think so. Yeah, she's in the fairway. She's in the clear.
And Adam going to continue going forehand here. And again, does not advance, but just a couple 100 feet. It's an opportunity for Proctor. Here's his 3rd.
It's not a great opportunity, but at least it's something. I mean, look at what he's dealing with. It's just like, pick a gap. A little bit too straight there for Proctor. I think he wanted that to bend a little bit more.
Get some flip on it. Get backhand from there. Yeah, that's true.
That's good. I love it.
Yeah, if you're too far right.
It will be a backhand from there, and it's a forehand for Joey. His 2nd on the 13th. Stays in the fairway. Ezra with his 3rd. Look at the late drift. What
Wow.
a shot. Oh, it's the shot of the day so far.
No question about it.
Just outside the bullseye. That's a birdie for Robinson. That is a hole one. He'll be up 2.
And I'm thinking, he's right here by this yellow post. I haven't even seen yellow yet. I'm wondering if yellow's at 400.
It definitely flew well past 3.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge shot with the late tree kick.
It's one of those things, too. It's like you're playing in the woods. You need a little luck, right? I mean, it's a great shape, but then to get that extra luck, I think it just makes it more exciting to witness when shots like that happen.
Yeah, no question about it. You know, we're throwing flying objects in the woods. You got to take a little bit of luck, the good with the bad. So that'll put Ezra up 2.
Rebecca's hung up on that right side, just trying to pitch it to the corner.
Pretty extreme angle that Adam is lining up here, almost roller. He'll be out in C2 for his par.
This hole is crazy.
And you heard it straight from the player. It's a crazy hole.
It really is. A little late connection with one of the big trees for Isaac. Not quite sure where that one landed.
Missy in an ideal position here.
Still gonna have to put some bend on this flight. But a clean shot will give her a great advantage, and that's beautiful from Missy.
Very nice. Just thinking that branch, well, if Gannon Burr's throwing there, he might have to go to a standstill on his knee.
I think you're right. And just 2 beautiful Annie shapes from Missy. Getting back to flat, a little bit of ground play into the circle.
It's another great shot from Missy, forcing Rebecca to have a long throw-in chance. This is Rebecca's 3rd. Line shot to the basket. Or some good practice for the event.
Yeah, great opportunity there for Missy to go up 4 with just 5 holes remaining.
Where? Hey. Where was it at?
You know what I'll be doing a lot of this weekend on the course?
Spotting.
I'll be finding some discs. That's exactly right.
That's nice.
Where was that where Terry Miller was running into the woods finding people's discs? I think D-Glow. It was off.
D-Glow.
Terry was.
Yeah, I think it was.
He was like calling it live, telling him, "Hey, I've got it, I've got it." Bucket's just in front of where we just saw Missy approach from. And matches the shape. Just outside the circle there.
Yeah, Missy's putt isn't a gimme. It's a little deceiving from the camera angle there. I think she's still at least 25 feet short of the pin.
So Rebecca's going to have to make that putt to prevent Missy from just laying up then.
Right.
So that'll actually put Missy just up 3 if she wins that hole. But man, we've got a battle out here. Ezra Robinson, Nicholas Antila, that's a pretty heated match. Hamas has been putting the hammer on Proctor and is looking good there.
Yeah, and again, you know, we know he's already won the 12th. So he'll be up 2. Now we do have the disc of Proctor here. This hole Not quite finished. We know that Hammis is up there putting for par. This is the 4th from Proctor.
Oh, and he finds the last Guardian there, kicks it right. Now I think he's actually outside of Adam.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely over on that right side, but yeah, distance to the basket still unknown. Yeah. Proctor kind of knows. I mean, this is last hope. You know, at this point, he's about a hole or two away from being what we would call dormy, to where Adam pretty much can't lose.
Ezra's shot was so good. Now that I know where the basket is, oh my goodness.
Now that he knows where the basket is. We love that inside commentary. This is where Isaac ended up after trying to throw the hyzer over the rough.
Where I think the basket is.
And he finds C1. He guessed, and he guessed right.
It was a risk initially on the second shot where he tried to get really aggressive over the corner, lucky to find a landing, and then to be able to get up and down potentially there. That could save him big time. Bucket's up there putting for par as well.
Oh yeah, so Proctor still had a full swing right there. Adam has a putt. A deep one, but he has a putt for the 5.
Yeah, so Proctor was still outside 100 over there on that right side.
Long look for Rebecca. Deep inside circle 2. More of a throw than a putt.
Give it.
Oh, that looked good.
Wanted
Gets
that
the
one.
band. What a look.
Great height underneath this one. And yeah, a little bit of a throw at that long of a distance.
And here's the Hammis look for the par. 52 feet. This will be to win the hole. Doesn't love it.
Kind of okay. All Adam needs is a push.
Buckets comes up short for his par look.
That's a big miss.
All of a sudden, Robinson has a short look to win the hole.
That's right. Isaac inside the circle. That's a chance to bring that match to all square.
Ezra just casually picks up his shot that landed just outside the bullseye.
What'd you get? A 6. Yeah, me too.
Wow.
Not even sure.
Yeah, not sure.
Wow.
That was funny. So they pushed the hole with bogeys.
It's a lot of shots though for me to win.
Yeah, they have their own battles going on.
He felt like he missed it.
Isaac's not totally locked in with the putter, but he has in the last 4 holes won 3. He's back to all square.
And that's Missy to win the hole. There she is. She'll be up 3 through 13. Not quite dormy. Getting there.
Yeah, Rebecca's been able to chip away. This is the moment where she misses the fairway and Missy takes advantage. Really seeing how these tee shots are so crucial out here.
And really, that stretch from 9 to 13, what a stretch of holes. I mean, come the tournament, this tournament's going to be won or lost in those holes because there's a lot of opportunity to make bogeys, get birdies. These matches are not quite getting away. I think Hammis certainly in a dominant position, but Ezra still has to make some good shots if he wants to win his match. We Can't give Antela any kind of space to make up a hole or two.
That's Pure, one of the few shots today that hasn't hit a tree at some point in the flight.
And I think a great example that we really are going to see them playing 13 as really that true 2-shot hole where you're going to be playing to the corner and then going, you know, hard right from there as it takes a 90-degree turn. I don't think there's much opportunity to try to break this corner. You know, we were talking about how 12 reminds us of Northwood. 13 reminds me of Hornet's Nest. They're, you know, out in North Carolina.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those 90-degree holes out there.
A couple of classic wooded tracks there. This one ranks pretty high on Washington's list. Was it at number 3 ranked course in the state?
Yeah, 3 or 4 for sure.
It's pretty high praise for a state that has a lot of disc golf in the woods. And Joey shaping up a nice forehand on the 14th.
Oh, this looks great.
Smooth. Oh, and that's into the circle and a little roll. That's the bullseye, folks.
Yep, we saw Isaac was short right. So big opportunity here for Buckets, who has been losing points over the last 3 or 4 holes.
That is quite the way to navigate a 400-foot, relatively 400-foot forehand shot right there. Pretty neutral driver that he's just flipping up and then getting to hyzer late. Adam also very smooth with the forehand power, and that is the corner right there.
So very Hornet's Nest. He's just a little bit beyond the true corner.
Yeah.
A little bit too good of a shot. And now it's not going to be such an easy second.
So what's the distance, Nate, if you make the corner? What are you looking at? What's Hamas looking at right there? Is that the 300 mark from that blue?
Yeah, he's going to be, yep, exactly. That blue is the 300 mark. I believe the white is 200 and the red is 100.
Missy from the FPO pad on the 14th. Whoa. Missing the late tree. That's just outside the circle.
That's a smash here in the woods. This hole measures 360 feet for the women.
There's a lot of pressure on Rebecca right now.
Like I said, pure tee shots, and Rebecca overturns it but gets a clean shot. She's deep inside circle too, but there's a chance. You just don't want to connect with those early trees.
It's kind of the theme out here, right? Just hit that early gap and then listen.
And hope for silence.
So Nicholas also just a little past the gap. Actually going to have to try and go pretty steep hyzer with something flippy to match it.
We were talking about that's the kind of shot he likes. That looks good to me.
And almost tips over, doesn't quite get it.
Kind of takes the check skip off the tree, though. He's in the open. Chance to make a putt. A must make for Isaac. He's got it.
Are you kidding me?
He's got it. What a putt.
Nearly the back edge of C2, full flight with the putter.
Just casual.
Buckets can't believe it. It's almost a throw, Nate.
Seriously, man. What a putt from Isaac.
Wow, that is the moment from that match, no question.
I mean, that's shot of the day for me. I'm not even sure if we got an OTB shot of the day, but
From
if
Isaac
we do,
to
that's
Ezra.
the one.
And right away, knew that he missed it. I mean, he was lined up
perfect.
perfectly.
Yeah, what a perfect tee shot.
Rebecca lays that one up. And Bucket still just can't believe it. He thought for sure he was picking one up. As you said, Doss just a bit past the gap here.
Again, if you're Adam, you just don't want to make the big mistake. You want to just keep making good shots. Force Proctor to win the holes. You don't want to give them anything easy.
Gannon comes up short. She'll stay up 3 with 4 to go. And birdie there just to have the hole.
It can be a little deflating for Joey Buckets, thinking he's going to potentially win, and then he just walks away with a half.
So Missy Gannon, she's up 3 with 4 to go. So she's not quite dormy, is she, Val?
No, if she would have made that last putt, win that hole, 4 holes to play, she would have been dormy. The worst she could do was halve. Rebecca would still have to win the last 4 holes of this round to match what Missy has done so far. But Missy Gannon's looking very solid at this point, and we'll see if Rebecca can fight her way back. There is still a chance that she can half this match.
And again, for this group play stage, we're not playing off, right? You can tie your match, and depending on how the group stages end up, the tie, it could end up hurting you depending on how you advance, how many holes you've won. Similar to the World Cup, right? How many goals did you score?
Similar to a lot of those soccer, or for all you Europeans out there, football tournaments. You're playing round robin in the group stage.
And look at this. Isaac, he makes a 70-footer and then just dimes the next one. Center cut.
Yeah, all the momentum is in Isaac Robinson's favor. Joey Buckets has not won a hole in 8 holes. He's given up 3 points in those 8. That's the thing about match play. You really just can't, ease up at all. You really have to continue to keep the pedal to the metal. Nice shot by Proctor.
So Antila for the birdie just outside of C2.
Yeah, Antila just didn't want to do anything unwise there. Keep it close to the basket. This is a par putt, I believe, for Ezra.
Needs this to basically have the hole. Oh, he's going to sail it. He's going to lose a hole. He'll be back to just up 1.
Yeah, so that match just got a lot more interesting.
Missy hits an early tree, kicks to the left. She was aiming for that right-hand gap. Rebecca leaves that low. I think it catches that tall grass. We'll see if she has an open look. She'll be in the middle.
To win the hole for Niklas. Alright, as this match play winds to a close, be sure to check out the Cascade Challenge presented by Discraft. Here at this very course, the Shelton Springs Disc Golf Course, FPO teeing off 9:30 a.m. Pacific Time, MPO 3 p.m. Pacific Time. It's sure to be a show. I mean, this is an entertaining course in a dense evergreen forest. It's very dynamic. I think the scores, you can shoot low. Obviously, we've seen some low numbers, but it's also difficult. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's one of those types of tournaments where if you get on a roll, you can go low. But it's very difficult to do that 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
So it's how can you follow up that good round? Can you keep on that pace, or can you just maintain? I think a lot will be set in that middle round, quote unquote moving day on Saturday. Will be a big day, and
Yeah.
you know you want it on a course like this. You want to be at or on that lead card heading to Sunday.
Well, and then Val, I want to ask you, how do you kind of keep your emotions in check when you're dealing with a course where you kind of need a little luck to progress through the course and score?
Well, unfortunately, you can't rely on the luck. So hopefully your practice has allowed you to be confident in the shots you're throwing. We talk about these fairway hits. That's going to lead to success as you move through the course. And an absolutely pure shot right there.
Yeah, buckets with another dime. I mean, that is pressure right back on Isaac.
That's a great match over there.
Yeah, all square.
Adam really leaning on this forehand today in the woods, and that nuke's going to flip up a little bit. Kareem off to the left.
This is that 412-foot par 3. Little bit of curve at the right, to the right at the end.
Really Proctor's last chance here to make something happen before he's dormy. And he just barely tugs on that one. Also kicks off to the left side.
It's going to be a tough event for Proctor without the sidearm. Honestly, I mean, the way this course lays out, you really need all your tools available to you.
And Rebecca had a distance advantage off of the tee, but connects early. Not looking good for Rebecca at this point.
You can see Antela really going from the far right side of the tee, trying to get all of the angle that he can. He's going to be out there kind of near where Isaac Robinson threw his tee shot.
It's a really tough backhand to get this one to fly straight and then flip late.
Whoa, like that?
It did really flip up late, and it just didn't quite tip over enough. Just continued straight.
And honestly, I think Ezra takes that shot all 3 days. Get himself down there. He's such a good putter. He can make a putt of that distance very easily. Oh boy.
No. And the pressure was on. He had to put that one close. The hole is over.
Yeah, it's
Bucket's going to go back up one. Let's run back his reaction here.
an immediate hole over.
Oh, and everyone behind him in danger. Yikes.
So now has to throw it in.
Yes. Bucket sitting under the basket. Gosh, what a huge mistake. That was absolutely not what you wanted to do. All the momentum was in his favor, but you got to hand it to Joey, who put the pressure on 2 holes in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, with 2 park jobs.
Yep, park the 14th, park the 15th.
So momentum, we've talked about it over the last 20, 30 minutes. Swing it back in the favor of Buckets.
You know, I'm thinking about that bucket hat that Isaac's wearing. You know, that's not really trash talking, is it?
I know, now he's becoming a fanboy.
Well, you know, low key, it's a bucket hat with the Champions Cup logo on it.
Ooh.
And the guy's a 2-time Champions Cup champ, so I don't know. That's some trash right there.
And that's just a high level shape right there from Joey. Rebecca with her third after the early tree hit. Straightens that one out too much. It looks like the wind is starting to filter through back here in the forest.
She's just around the edge of the circle there on the right side.
And how many of those have we seen today? Just the extreme patent pending Annie just kind of guessing where the bucket is and finds it.
That was amazing. Sliding right under the pin. Hamas needing just a push. And I think he's going to do it just fine.
So that match will be Dormy heading into the 15th. Best Proctor can do is tie. So I'm with you, Doss. Not too far from where Robinson cashed in. A little more obstructed.
Yeah, not quite as good of a stance at all. Maybe.
Drop.
Yes!
Gets it.
Way.
He does it.
That is a classic Antila flight right there.
Thank you.
Wow.
The first smile we've seen from him today.
And what, he's going to slow walk it in?
Is he going to leave it in the
He
basket?
says,
Oh my goodness.
So dumb. Ezra says, just leave it. I'm going to make it 2.
Fill it up. Nope.
Oh, and that's a win. Are we all square?
All square.
Wow. Unreal.
So over the last 5 holes, we've seen no pushes whatsoever. We saw Antila win, then Ezra went back-to-back, and now Antila has gone back-to-back as well.
That is full flight.
New shot of the day, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Then to just leave it in the pin.
I mean, how many times have we seen him make those splody spin putts that just seem to be in the air forever? Ezra, first to give it up there.
I was like, and I was still watching it. I was like, oh crap.
He was watching it like, oh no. He just made a 90-footer.
Boom. Great putt from Rebecca. But at this point, she needs to win these holes.
Yeah. Oh, what was that event back in the day? Didn't you guys do a match play tournament? Was it the Players Championship?
Yeah, we had what was called the Players' Cup.
The Players Cup.
And it was originally a stroke play event down in Florida, and then
Yeah.
Steve Dodge, the original founder of the DGPT, converted it over to a match play tournament. It was
Yeah.
sort of kind of bracket style, just like the NCAA tournament. You
Cool.
worked your way all the way down to a final match.
Hey, who won that one? I forgot.
Did you get one?
I
Doss?
did, yeah. Me and Nico in the final.
All right. It's quite the competitor to go head-to-head against. And Nicholas. Was it all the way clean?
It looked like it caught a late big one.
Okay. We are all square. 4 holes remaining.
770-foot par 4 here.
That's pure.
Yeah, very clean and a big skip
he'll
late,
have the
too.
left window. That is as good as you can do it. And the Hamas Proctor match is Dormy. The best James can do is tie. Adam just needs to push 1 hole and the match will be over. Pulls it to the right. Kicks before he gets to the corner. James throws a rope, but maybe just 2 straight. You ideally like to see that finish with a little bit more hyzer before it gets to that back wall.
Yeah, because we saw the shot from Ezra was definitely on the more inside track and got a lot more distance. We are here on 16.
So Joey up 1. This hole is pretty similar shape to what we saw Joey park on 14. You kind of need to have a little bit more hyzer that stands up later in the flight versus 14. You kind of had to push it longer before it hyzered.
Yeah, it's a little bit less distance here on 16, only 350 feet. Oh, and a little bit on that corner. He's going to catch a tree way back. He'll be outside of Buckets. Now, Buckets isn't that close, so possible push over on that match.
Ooh.
And Missy Gannon, Dormy on Rebecca Cox. The best Rebecca can do is tie. Missy hits early.
Yeah, Rebecca, can she clutch up again with a clean tee shot? This hole is reachable, just over 300 feet, but she needs to get clean right off the bat.
Yeah, 3 straight wins to tie the match would be huge.
It fades out at the end, doesn't continue that right-hand turn. I'm seeing a par in Rebecca's future. We'll see if Missy can do any better than that.
A lot of pressure on this shot right here.
Yeah, he's stepped up big on the last 2 holes. Can see a pretty clear line to the pin.
And we've seen this straight DD3 quite a bit this season. It's flipping up a little bit for him. Will it get back to Heiser? It's going to be pretty dense in there.
Yeah, it looked like he's just on the edge, but unlikely to be able to get up and in, at least with a birdie, but par most likely.
We're going to go forehand here for Isaac's second. Uh-oh. That's a putt still.
Yeah, that's not great. A lot of pressure going to be on that putt right there.
And Missy's still just wide open here. Oh, no. That's that's outside the circle.
Yeah, Missy took a great second kick to keep her out of the deep stuff.
So Missy's going to have to make a C2 putt.
To
to
push.
close the match, really, to win the match.
Yep.
Look at that, just barely dodging those fir trees. Kicks off into the forest, but that was a pretty fun flight to track. And Joey Buckets to win the hole.
And to go Dormy if he were able to make this putt.
From deep in C2.
Bam!
He's good for
Oh!
it. No, it does not come out.
Wow.
Joey drops it in on the pole. The Chainstar Pro does not receive it. We're running this back. That is a nasty spit out.
I thought he had it.
I
it
mean,
was too perfect.
It gets vertical on the pole. You don't see it very often, and when you do, it just right in the gut.
Yeah. I've said this many times as we see Missy to win. Not going to happen.
Rebecca, she's still alive.
Still alive,
right.
Val.
So Rebecca making the putt. She'll win the hole. She still has to continue winning the holes if she wants to tie the match.
James with a beautiful shot to just outside the circle. Isaac still needs this. And he gets it. They have the whole unreal turn of events right there after Joey's best putt of the day. No doubt about it.
How far it rolled away, too.
Yeah, being that everybody watching this coverage plays disc golf, they all know that feeling. And, it's a part of the game. That was an incredible putt by Joey. Still up by 1 with 2 to play.
I'll tell you, most of my spit outs came from pretty close.
No,
I
I'm
didn't have
thinking-
too many like 65 like perfect putt spit outs, but it does happen, Dawson. It's rare to see it on the baskets we have today, right? You don't see the Chainstar Pro really reject putts like that too often.
Or just to see that reaction of the disc flipping up and going vertical and hitting and connecting with the pole. That was wild.
Oh, and Ezra misses again left side, and it's not going to filter. And another just big miss opportunity. He was again lined up perfectly for the shape he wants, drawing from left to right. Joey leaning on the forehand again here on 17.
And another really good shot. I mean, chance to make that putt right there. 16 and 17, both bending from left to right. 16 was 350, 17 330.
All right, another putt off here. Buckets might be a tad closer.
Yeah, it's tough to tell because he's behind that bush. Isaac might have a slightly better angle as far as the drop off behind the pin. Very important putts upcoming. I think it's going to depend on who goes first on this one.
Rebecca gets the tee after winning the last hole. Like I said, she has to win the next two. She wants to have this match. And that's headed dead straight at that tree.
So a par is really going to win Missy this match.
It's looking pretty good at this point. Has to have a clean shot here. Very short hole.
And she's going to flex forehand. And that's circle one.
Yeah, it's going to be a tricky shot for Rebecca to try and throw it in.
That was Antila's third. Here's Hammis with his third. Chance for Proctor to get one back and keep the match alive. James needs this or the match is over.
I got Proctor making this. Come on.
Yeah, he has been good for it lately. And it's not to be, Doss. James Proctor was down early, put up a fight,
Wow.
and
off
misses
the top.
here.
Yeah.
Match is over. Adam's going to take that one. The Antila Robinson battle continues. They're going to have this hole.
So Adam Hammis will take 3 points for the win. James Proctor will walk away with 0. Now, if the matches do end in an all-square scenario, it's not a split of the 3. Just each player gets 1 point each. That's kind of what we're looking at here as far as a push or a win.
And just 3 holes remaining. Antila Robinson all square. Rebecca has to throw this in to force Missy to make it for the win. And with that, Missy Gannon has effectively won the match. Oh, so Joey is way out. He's
Yes.
going to lay up.
Yeah, see, we couldn't see because of that bush where
Yeah.
our catch cam was, and there's a huge slope behind the pin. Chance here for Isaac.
this to win the hole. He misses. The match is now Dormy heading into 18.
Yes, it is. Wow, that looks
Nicholas
really
on the
high.
16th. Maybe a little overturned.
Yeah, it was real high on the inside, but it sounded like it got through cleanly.
This looks better from Ezra. Great read there. Oh, and good ground play. That's circle 1. It's a big moment there from Robinson.
It really is. He needed that.
And the kindness continues. Big hug. Missy takes the match, and I feel like it was an uphill battle for Rebecca from the start. Missy Gannon coming off of the major win. She was the likely winner in this match, but Rebecca did fight hard. She got some points on Missy, and Missy just got her by 2. So a fun match to watch and a great preview for this weekend. We haven't seen either player play the Cascade Challenge in the past, so we'll see how they compete in the event.
All right, Joey Buckets Dormy over Isaac. What are they looking to do here on the 18th, Nate?
Yeah, kind of a dead straight tee shot. Just want to keep it clean. This looks great from
Wow,
Joey.
That looks ideal.
Oh, baby, that is perfect.
What a shot.
Talk about pressure. Pressure put right on the major champion, Isaac Robinson.
Didn't touch a tree.
He's going to need some stability out of this. There's OB on the right down there. He's still short of it.
Okay, Nicholas has to make this. Ezra up into C1.
He's got to do a low spinner here, that branch. Big problem. Yeah, he almost makes it.
Nearly had it. The nose was just a little too flat. Good opportunity for Ezra to go up 1. And he has gone up 1 with just 2 holes remaining. We've got Joey Buckets, Isaac Robinson walking up to their lies on the 18th. And this is a pretty tricky green to access, Nate. I think Isaac could put some pressure on Joey here.
Boy, and Isaac found an opening to where it's a pretty clear shot. Can he get it all the way back there? Not quite all the way. He's going to have to make a long putt there for birdie. But Joey is just, I mean, in ideal position to where he could potentially put it very close to the pin. Here's this initial tee shot. As I said, you just want to keep it clean. You want to try to work something down this right side with just a little bit of flex at the end, and that's exactly what Joey did. Missing that tree right there, skipping into this area. This is where Buckets is sitting, and now you can see as he's going to look straight down towards that basket. Maybe going to have to work a little bit of a turnover here. He can try the high sidearm on the right side, but as Perkins said, it's hard to get all the way back to this basket because of these late clumps of trees. So the way you attack this is definitely going to depend on how close you can get to the pin.
All right, and an up and down right here will win Joey the match.
And there's that clump.
All right, so if Robinson hits his putt, Joey misses, that's a tie match.
Yeah, it is, and that's a point instead of 0 for Isaac, and potentially 1 instead of 3 for Joey Buckets.
And turnover was not turned enough. Ezra Robinson in C2.
See, and it's interesting in the round robin play because we're not going to extra holes at all, which means once you get to Dormy, you've guaranteed yourself 1 point for that match in the round robin. And so, you know, mentally, you know, for Antela, this is, you know, you really want to get this. Otherwise, you know you're not going to be able to get 3 points.
Yeah. And the 17th has proven to be a tough shot here, and Niklas hits the trice. Are you kidding me?
Let's go. He wants those 3 points, man. That was a killer shot.
We're about to be back all square.
I mean, I wouldn't put past Ezra to make it, but what a shot. Let's watch this again. Antela up high.
This is that beat-in sensei. One of his trusty discs looked overturned, and it might have been, but it found a lane. Wow. "50 feet. Just like that, we are all square heading into the 18th. And we're going to head back to the 18th for another putt off between Isaac and Buckets. There he goes. Concedes it. Now, just how far is this, Doss?
And he makes it. That was about 40 feet.
Unreal. These matches are hyped.
They really are. What a putt by Isaac. He's made a few big ones today. He wasn't locked in completely on the putting green, but he made them when it matters. But Joey Buckets, that being said, still has a chance to take the full 3 points with a made putt here.
A miss. He ties. A make. He wins the match outright against the 4-time.
Wow.
And it's not in. Isaac comes back.
Just that, what we just watched, is the perfect example of match play.
Yeah.
And I just want extra holes right now because those two guys are putting on a real show, bouncing back and forth throughout the entire match. But it's going to be 4 holes for Robinson and 4 holes for Buckets. That's a push. I want to get your disc twisting out towards that sunlight out there.
It's early, Doss.
Yeah, that was a little bit early release. Definitely left initially.
Birdie out of question.
Yes.
Even the par is difficult from there. Still have to navigate the gaps. And pulled it.
And kicked right.
Oh, it kicked way right. Hands on the head for Ezra. Can't believe it. His brother just birdied to tie the match, and he's hoping for a par.
Let's see where this goes. There's the kick.
Oh, it's way right.
There's the second kick.
Oh, we got a second kick.
I was wondering because I didn't see it flying that far right.
Okay.
And a second kick is going to, you know, still not a great shot, but better than being, you know, 150 off to the right. Especially with where Antela is.
Yeah, I think Ezra is just another 50 feet up by the FPO pad right there.
Yeah. Boy, a chance that par could easily take the point here. So in that Buckets, Robinson, Isaac, that is, match.
Yeah.
4 holes for each man. In this match, 6 holes for each guy. They've really been going at it.
Yeah. They were both phenomenal matches as well. I mean, for me, the spit out for Buckets on that deep C2
Yeah,
look
that was
the
brutal.
16th. That's going to be hard to forget.
This match with Antela and Ezra has pushed only one hole in the back nine.
So Antela successfully navigates around the corner. I also don't think birdie's in play for Ezra right here. I think he's just looking for a par, maybe, you know, up 50 to 100 feet in front of where Nicholas just threw.
Yeah, the FPO tee pad is 635 feet from the basket.
Okay.
He has no run up.
Yeah.
Really just position play here. Don't want to make the big mistake. I think you have to kind of back off a little bit, knowing that Antela is not going to birdie. You want to just try to find the short grass here. You got to try to find the biggest gap you can hit over on the right and just let that disc drift to the left. Whoa, that's way inside. Big mistake.
I think it's going to take a pretty crafty little forehand flex or something special from Ezra to get up and down from there. What do you see here?
Well, it's a standstill shot, and he's trying to put a lot of power on it. You can see as he's throwing, he's falling away, and that disc just comes out early. I think you need to set his base a little bit more and try to hit the bigger gap. First, trying to go for that super aggressive line. That being said, this is Ezra Robinson. This is what he does. He likes to stay aggressive even when he's out of position.
Checking out his options. Doesn't feel great over here. Yeah, he's looking high. Gonna try and filter one out and toward that OB line, right? And then back into play.
Maybe a little bit of a wind assist. I mean, the wind should be coming off the right here.
There's airspace up there. It's going to be outside where we saw Buckets attempt his putt from. Middle of C2 there. Big opportunity for Nicholas. They are confirming the tied match here. We're going to take a look at this one more time. From deep in C2, it is cashed. Now it's on the ground. Still hurts. How do you bounce back from that, Doss?
I don't know. I mean, he did a pretty darn good job, actually. I mean, he smoked the tee shot on 17. It's just, you know, got beat by a guy who's a four-time major champion, great putter. And I think to still walk away with a push is still good. You're still getting points. So I think that's a good thing.
Antela inside 20 feet for the par.
Because we're looking at that match that we were just talking about, the Buckets Robinson match, and this Antela Robinson match. Is that a group? Are they in a group together, or is it? Maybe I have that wrong.
Buckets and Robinson are in a separate group.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, because
okay,
they were our addition from
right.
the Pierce
Thank
Walker
you.
matchup.
Yeah.
They are Group D.
Okay.
And Ezra Robinson and Nicholas Antela are in Group C with Proctor and Hemis. And Ezra needed that, and just like that, Nicholas has an 18-foot putt to win this match outright, and what a battle it was.
Well, and he can pretty much lay it up, right? I mean, with all the struggles that Ezra's had?
This is for his par.
Okay.
I think he still has to make this to win outright.
Gotcha.
And that's a dub for the Finnish Cowboy.
Yeah, 4, right? Yes. Good match. That's fine. Yeah.
I know. We out. My hand has never been this cold. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's even that cold. Just can't open.
Just finalize the scorecards real quick.
Yeah, I think you have messed up because we made like.
Yeah, I think it didn't really matter.
Antila winning
I think
4
next time,
of the final
I think
6
I found, like,
holes.
hole 1, I think you laid up your
I mean,
second shot. Or
to
your
win by
second
1.
shot. You just
Ezra,
basically
with
parred
6
whoever
holes to
won
go,
that,
was
right?
up by
I
2.
figured it out like
Yeah.
halfway through.
Yeah.
We started,
Still,
as long as the
Antila
hole
not
was,
giving
like,
up. There's the
Yeah,
match
that's
right
what
there.
we're
It's
Sorry
Next
about
time I think
that.
it helps
a little
with,
bit of a
like,
shock,
the next
honestly.
shot.
I think for
Just
Robinson, he
broadcast
felt
that
like he
should
could
make
easily
sense.
win that match with just 6 holes to
That's
play,
easy
but
now.
Antila wasn't giving up that easy. Now, that's what we love about match play, is that it's really just not over until it's over.
Are we doing it like?
I've been just doing that the whole time.
Gonna look once more at the scores from today's group play. Nicholas wins by 1 on the final hole. Adam Hammis played well, won by 4.
So all these guys will play each other in the group stages, and then 2 of them will move on to the championship.
We got Missy Gannon taking it down against Rebecca Cox. It's fun to watch the women play. It's sad to not see Paige and Madison
Yeah.
today, but I feel like Missy and Rebecca really put on a good show. And like you said, it's not over till it's over. And I feel like Rebecca gave it a good run, even down the stretch when she was back.
Yeah, I agree. I think Rebecca put on a really good effort today, for sure.
So Joey Buckets, Isaac Robinson, all square there, and a heartbreaker for Joey. He played great, was hot early. Isaac came back, and man, Group D is pretty exciting. Simon Lazat, Calvin Heimberg, the other 2 competitors in this group.
Yeah, I believe those matches will be played out at the Preserve in Minnesota. But yeah, those guys just taking 1 point each, so that keeps that group very interesting.
All right, welcome back into the booth here. And for me, I loved every second of match play today here at Shelton Springs. Great course, pretty dynamic, saw some brand new holes in the woods, and saw players have to throw some creative shots there. Val, what'd you take from today?
Well, I'm glad we're back in the Pacific Northwest. I love springtime here, and I feel like this course is really going to provide an incredible challenge this weekend. It's fun to see the new holes being played out, and yeah, it's going to be a Cascade challenge for sure in the deep woods. Who can keep it in the fairway? Who's going to throw off of those tees with nice, clean shots? That's going to be the winner at the end of the weekend.
And how about the dynamic today from the windy shots out in the open and then the calm shots in the trees? It felt like Missy had that slight advantage with some of the smarter golf when it was windy.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to really pay close attention to how the wind's going to affect their disc when they're shooting out the mouth of those tee shots. It's going to be a real challenge. And Missy, she's really building the momentum. She's building the momentum for the win and throughout this early part of the season. So
it'll be a hard player to beat.
Yes, and great practice today.
Yeah. And Doss, what did you make from some of the men's matches today? I mean, they were all heavy hitters. Hammies played great. Proctor kind of showed some heart there, made some putts. What'd you make of that match.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like I said, I mean, Proctor's dealing with a pretty major injury.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that he's even able to play is kind of amazing. He's hoping that will get better throughout the season, and so I think still getting out there playing that match was very, very critical. That being said, Hamas looks good.
Yeah.
You know, then I switch over to that Joey Buckets Isaac Robinson match, and you know that was such a close match.
Mm-hmm.
Isaac put down some good putts. It looked like Isaac was going to be kind of not really in it.
Yeah.
He was down 3 through 9 holes, came back with the 3 wins, but really Buckets picked it up late. And that's one of the things you really like to see from a young player. And he just, you know, had a bad spit out. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
there's just nothing you can do about that.
The park job on 14, and then for Isaac to make that huge putt, that's one of the contenders for shot of the day. And of course, the spit out, I think, is going to be one that we replay quite often here on the network because it was just a heartbreaker. The final match, Antila Robinson, what did you make of Nicholas coming back there, winning for the last 6?
Yeah, I mean, I think a big missed opportunity for Ezra to take 3 points. I think that match was really in his favor, and it just came down to a couple of missed tee shots, really, as he was kind of out of position on some of those not easier, but more birdieable par 3s, and we saw Antila put down what is, in my opinion, going to be the shot of the day, that huge putt from the woods. But then the park job on 17.
Yeah.
I mean, what a big shot there for Antila. And then really, I think Ezra trying to stay aggressive, which is his MO, on 18, I think really cost him an opportunity. All he had to do there was par and get 1 point. Remember, this is a season-long match play event. And the opportunity to play in November in Charlotte for this title, there's going to be a lot of money on the line late in the season. You don't want to give up those points so easy. So I think a big missed opportunity for Ezra to at least walk away with 1, you know, at the very worst.
Yep, no doubt. Bogey there on the 18th definitely hurts to lose the match outright. And, you know, shot of the day, I'm with you. I think it could be Nicholas. It could be Isaac on the same hole, but let's get right to it. What do we have for the shot of the day? Oh, it's Isaac on the 18th to win it.
The Iceman call.
I don't hate it because it's a windy look. It puts a ton of pressure on Buckets right there. That was to tie the match, right?
Yeah, and arguably, gave him a point versus 0. And that could go a long way to getting into the finals.
And that was
November.
Your OTB shot of the day. Thanks for joining us here on the Disc Golf Network for the matches from the group play stages. We're broadcasting live all weekend from the Shelton Springs Disc Golf Course for the Cascade Challenge. Tune in 9:30 a.m. Pacific Time for the FPO and 3 p.m. Pacific Time for MPO. Thanks for watching. From Nate Doss, Valerie Jenkins, and Nate Perkins, we will see you on Friday.